So Blizzard came out with a blue post, and they're pretty much doing all the stuff that everybody's wanted. And I think this is kind of something that we all expected. And it's something that unfortunately we all expected before Shadowlands even came out. And the blue post went over everything that they're going to be changing in WoW. And this is the PTR for the 9.1.5 patch. So this is not it's not 9.3.5, which is whenever we thought this stuff was going to happen. Turns out we're actually getting it 2 patches early. So usually they fix the expansion in the last patch, and now they're fixing it in just the second patch, which is actually an improvement. I would say this is definitely better. So anyway, what are the changes, what are in the changes, etc. Blizzard is, for all intents and purposes, pulling the ripcord. They are making covenants easier to swap between. They are literally deleting conduit energy. They are making it to where you can use different transmogs from other covenants. They are basically making it to where you can just do whatever you want in the game now, because they're just throwing everything at the wall. Because, and this is the truth, right? And I know that there's a lot of people right now on Twitter, like, they're doing everything that people want, basically. And I do not think this is a win. I'll be completely honest. I do not think this is a win. Do you know why? It's because they did the same thing in BFA, and they did the same thing in Legion. This is the same thing. They do the same thing again. Like, wow, this is great. I'm happy that this is happening. However, it's still just the same fucking bullshit. And until this is where I'm not going to just completely complain here, right? Because, you know, actually I probably will, but, you know, I have a little bit of positives here. I will consider this a dub whenever we hit a PTR and a system goes on to PTR that's bad, players give feedback that the system's bad, and it gets changed before it goes onto live servers. Because that's what the real fucking problem is. It's never been that Blizzard didn't listen to feedback eventually. It's the time that it takes them for them to listen to that feedback. Because what we've just had to do here is we've had to play the game for almost a year now in a dysfunctional state. Because here's a good question. Why are they making these changes if they're not going to make the game better? So they're obviously making them because the players want the changes. Why did it take an entire year? And again, I'm not going to completely complain about the changes themselves. I'm very happy about the changes. But what I am going to complain about is some of the WoW Andies who are mistakenly calling this a win. It's not a fucking win. This is the opposite of a win. This is the reason why it's so much not a win, I'll explain, is because they're doing something and they're making people feel like they're getting what they want, but the truth is that this is the same thing that we've already gotten before. So this is why I'm so frustrated, and this is why I wanted to come on and talk about this today, is because this is the same pattern that they've had before. They've had this pattern of introducing a system into the game that is dysfunctional, ignoring feedback about the dysfunctional aspects of the system, and ignoring suggested and you know, changes that people wanted to see with the system, ignoring all of that, and then ramrodding it into the game. And then a few months later, a year and a half later, whatever, they finally think to themselves, wow, maybe the players were right, people actually don't like this. So I don't really care about the system, and pardon me for having a little bit of resentment about the fact that we've had to complain about something and be frustrated about something and play through a, at this point by their own admission of changing it, bad system for one entire year. This is crazy. This is not a win at all. This is not a success. This is not a, oh wow, look at us, we're finally going to be able to do this. There's nothing in my mind that tells me that the next system that they're going to add in 9.2 or 9.3 isn't going to have the exact same problems with it, and we're not going to see a change for it in 9.3 or 9.35, and people here, the WoW community, is going to fucking eat that shit up and pretend like they just won. You didn't win. You didn't at all. And that's what I think is so frustrating to me, is to see people that feel this way. Because I think this is how Blizzard this is how Blizzard has gotten by on doing these things, is that people take the diplomatic approach to these things, and I understand that. I appreciate that in a way, but I think that it's been to the detriment of the player base. I think that it's been to the detriment of the player base to coddle the developers and tell them, wow, you're such a good boy. It only took you 11 months to listen to feedback, not even a whole year. Wow, look at Blizzard, they're improving. Where I see us at right now is I don't see us as +1 or +5, I see us at 0. Whereas before we were at -5, and we got a +5, and that +5 doesn't take us to +5, it takes us to 0. Because this was where we are now at where we should have been on the release of the expansion. And I am not going to commend Blizzard for listening to the feedback that they so valiantly ignored and refuted for months, and really, if you include the beta, over a year at this point, only for them to finally come crawling back after, I would say, probably the majority of the player base has quit the game. They are moving on, and this desperate attempt to bring people back to the game by giving them the thing that they left the game in the first place because of. I'm just so annoyed by this. I really am. And I think the problem is that here's what I think, and this is a bit of a conspiracy theory. Do you guys want to hear my conspiracy theory? This is my conspiracy theory. I think Blizzard is intentionally double dipping on hype by introducing the expansion and then saving the implication or the implementation of necessary changes to that system. They are actually planning that ahead of time in order to revitalize people's interest in the game. So this is a premeditated goal that these systems are going to be implemented into the game dysfunctional. They are going to be dysfunctional by design. And then the change later on will be used to generate excitement and generate hype. I think they do this with data mining too. And I'm not going to buy into this. I'm just not. I'm not at all. It's just not gonna happen. Like because the fact is, like, totally, yeah. What do you guys think? Y'all agree with me? Like, I mean, am I the only person that sees this? I feel like it's just happened for so many times that it's impossible not to. True and real, it's very cynical but reasonable. And this is the thing, right? Is I don't want to be cynical. Why would I want to be cynical? But whenever you, like, human beings are designed to see patterns. We're programmed like that, and whenever the same pattern manifests itself for 5 years since Legion, you start to recognize it, you start to see it, and this is the problem that I have. And again, I think that all of these changes and my hope in the game is not resting on today's changes, it's resting on the next patch, what's being implemented in that patch, and if Blizzard will respond to feedback correctly in how to make that system better. Because that's really what the problem has always been. It's never been that they don't eventually fix things, is that what the time frame is between them fixing or not. And in my opinion, I don't think that we should accept even a single day of live content that's bad. If they don't actually make these changes and improve on these things in real time, and fix them before the game comes out, then I'm not really going to have any faith restored in the development team, because there's no reason to have any faith restored. Why would you expect the game to get better if they're just doing the same thing that they've already done? And again, I think this is really going to be determined by patch 9.2, 9.3, but primarily by the next expansion, because I can guarantee you Blizzard is going to have some great ideas that they've cooked up you know, in their development team of people who probably don't even play the fucking game, or people that are so dog shit at it they shouldn't even be working on it. And those people are going to have all these improvements, right? All these things that they want you to do, and I don't want to deal with it. That's the truth. And I think that really the point that I'm making is that these changes are not new. These changes are not you know, this massive return to form for Blizzard or anything like that. They're just simply Blizzard trying desperately to stem the bleeding of their sub numbers. That's really what it is, because they know that you're not going to sell any store mounts if there's nobody playing the game to buy them. That's just the truth. Like, if there's nobody who's buying the store mounts, nobody's playing the game, there's nobody that can buy the store mounts. So I think this is what's happened for quite a while. And unfortunately, I as I said before, I don't think anybody should be celebrating this. It's happened before multiple times, and it's whatever. Like the Burning Crusade Phase 2 comes out on September 15th. I saw that. That's great. Awesome. I think that'll be at least like a few days of content, right? We can go through Serpent Shrine Caverns. We can go through Tempest Keep. I'll have to get my attunements, etc. That's great. I'm happy about that. And then after that, I think that they're adding. Oh, they talked about the Classic WoW, Classic Plus, or not really Classic Plus, Classic Fresh. That's what they said, basically. I do want to say that a fresh Classic server, in my opinion, has like zero appeal to me. Like, I cannot express how little a Classic WoW fresh server appeal has to me. Because I think there's a lot of people who, they think it's going to be something different. They think it's going to be something new. But the reality is that you're going to level up quickly, and then you finally hit level 60, and you do Molten Core. You know, like, I'm sorry, but this is not filling me with excitement. Like, we did that. We did that 2 years ago. I think the anniversary was a couple of days ago, or yesterday or something. It was great. It was so fun. Like, I had so much fun playing Classic WoW. It was incredible. I loved it so much. But you know what? I did it. And I think now, like, if Blizzard wants to revitalize Classic WoW, they have to just do something completely different. Like, I would like to see them go with, like, I think the Classic WoW versus Burning Crusade, I would like to see them do Classic Plus from Burning Crusade as a launch pad rather than Classic WoW, because Burning Crusade, I just think, made the game better. And there are very few things about Burning Crusade that I feel actually made the game worse, other than making everybody just fixated in Outland. And I think that really, what would be better? Would it be better for them to just start? I think that just, you know, for sake of simplicity, just start with Classic WoW, implement some of the good Burning Crusade changes, and not the other ones. Because there were small things that I wasn't really a big fan of with Burning Crusade, but it's very small. I think that, like, for example, like having percentages, like for crit rate, right? For example, like 1%, 2%, 3% crit is much easier to understand for a player than, you know, 14 crit rating or 21 crit rating or something like that. It's just very easy to understand, and I think that's one of the positives with Classic WoW, is that it does have that simplicity. And I think also by having that, it makes it easier for Blizzard to avoid power creep, because you're just going from like 1% to 2% rather than, you know, 14 to like 55 or something like that, or 44. I think that it's much easier for the power creep to occur whenever you have these what do you call them? Whenever you have these numerical things. Percentages make it easier for them to, I think, balance. I could be wrong about that, but either way, I think it's something that I'd like to see more of. I also think that, like, Classic WoW, there are a lot of positives with Classic WoW. I think one of the biggest positives is the fact that all of Azeroth has some degree of relevance. So you want to go to Felwood to get, you know, certain types of items like Whiproot Tuber and things like that. And I think Whiproot Tuber and small little things like that are not the end of the world. They're not bad for raiding because they're not as powerful as a world buff. So it's just like kind of, it's like using an augment rune in like a retail raid. It's like, what, 50 strength or something like that? Who cares? You're not going to kill the boss if that's what it was. So, yeah, that's kind of my thinking about it, and that's the way I feel. I think that Classic Plus, if you want to take like the three categories, right? You have like Classic Plus, there's a Classic WoW Plus, hypothetically, Burning Crusade, and Retail WoW. Which game in 10 years could be the best? Classic Plus. Classic Plus could be the best in 10 years. I don't think retail WoW can do it. I think that they've shitted up the game with so many things that it's always going to be fun to play. Is that a squirrel? Fell on my roof. It's a squirrel on my treehouse roof. Like, Classic WoW's obviously got its own problems, but I think that taking it down the OSRS route is the smartest thing to do. WoW 2, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do. But, yeah, I'm gonna get on my computer in a minute here, and then I'm just gonna kind of, I'll see if my mom will talk about the game for a few minutes too. I highly doubt it. I'm pretty sure she's just gonna get so mad if I even walk in there with the camera. But we'll find out in just a second. She looking at me. I'm seeing if she's like watching the stream. Sometimes my dad will watch my streams and then he will write down things that I said that he was mad about, and then he will bring them up to me with like a bullet point list. He's like, you know, whenever you said that we didn't do anything, well, remember whenever I took you to the lake all the time? I'm like, yeah, that's true. You know, he would do this to me. Give me 1 second. I'm still on my stream right now. It's against my chest, so they can't see you. Is that fine?
If you leave.
If I leave, it's fine?
Yes, get out of there.
I thought I could ask you a question.
Oh, no.
Could I ask you one question?
I don't know. Go ahead.
Why'd you stop playing Warcraft?
Because I didn't have flying. It was going to take me a month to get it. I had Exalted and all sorts of things. But no, I didn't have flying. And I just going back and forth. Back. It was worse than Teldrassil. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it.
You thought about playing Classic WoW?
I thought about it, but I already did that. You know what I mean?
I sure do.
So now I'm playing Age of Empires.
You're playing Age of Empires?
Yep.
You know, I get notifications every single time you win a game.
Do you get notifications when I lose?
No, I haven't actually gotten a notification at all for like a few days now.
Okay.
Have you been playing?
Not yesterday.
Okay. Age of Empires 4 is coming out. The trailer came out. It looks really good.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's great. You don't have to hide your face, by the way.
I do.
I swear to God, I'm not recording you.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Okay. You believe that was? She thought what the fuck, dude? You believe that? Wow. Hopefully you guys were able to hear that. I know it was really close up to my chest, so I didn't really know if that would work. Okay, let me get this out of the way. And I'll show you guys what the setup looks like right now. As you guys can see, there is the setup. Chilling. Doing what you need to do. Going to work. And let's see here. This over here is where I have, make sure I don't have any other bullshit here. Yeah. That's where I sometimes sleep. And this is pretty much where I put all my stuff. That's just where all the stuff is that I get. And then over here is my TV I bought. I'm good, man. Yeah, it's nice. It is really nice. Clean what the fuck? Yeah, I cleaned it up. I do clean it up pretty regularly. I know people like won't believe that, but I do. And let me just make sure I get my blanket on me. This is how I get ready for a hard day of work.